So the Matrix Online was set up. I don't know if any other MMO has tried to do this since that time, but one of the big selling points for Matrix Online was there are characters from the Matrix played by real human beings running around this game and interacting with players. And so they had a whole separate internal team they called the live events team. And those guys were responsible for, oh, this guy's playing Morpheus today. He's going to go talk to this clan.
What?
Yeah. So for maybe once or twice during that job, I got to be Morpheus and go talk to people as Morpheus in the Matrix.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay, so you're
which is why
actually
when I saw
you're like responding to people, like direct.
Yeah.
They could actually talk to Morpheus.
Yep. They'd have. I think if you think of it in terms of modern games, they have seasons in the game,
right?
And this storyline would go on all the different servers, and depending on which faction won the server game that month, they would get an audience with a character and get to direct the narrative for that server. And it was a really unique idea.
Yeah,
it's a shame the game didn't last much longer. but yeah, it was interesting getting to play Morpheus in this weird MMO, and I also got to play like an agent who can just go run around one-shotting people.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you get like guidance on what Morpheus talks like, or are you just kind of doing your best approximation? Just like, hey, don't make jokes, just play everything straight and be cool and you'll be set.
There was kind of a spreadsheet of like, oh, if some player asks about this, kind of guide them like this. And so you try to keep like the Morpheus tone, like, oh yes, children of Zion, I am helping you with X, Y, Z. It was wild, but you got some guidance from people who were much better at it than you were for the times where they needed you. But other than that, they had their own team in the studio doing that kind of work, and it was fascinating. And
now this made headlines when Resurrections was coming out, the idea that Morpheus isn't going to be in Resurrections because he canonically died in the Matrix Online.
Oh yeah.
Now, were you playing as Morpheus as he died in the MMO?
I was not. No, there was a cutscene that explains that event. I won't try to go into the details of the story because it's a pretty wild scene. when you get the details of how Morpheus is killed in the Matrix Online. Yeah, I don't think I could do it justice, but it's pretty crazy if you know the history of the Matrix in video games as well. Like they did stuff in the games that was pretty nuts in terms of canon.
Well, there was that one ending where it's We Are the Champions playing for one of those games. I forget which one it was.
Yeah. Enter the Matrix, or it was like the Path of Neo.
I think so.
Yeah, where the directors just come up and start talking about the game and like
so good.
Yeah.
Well, Chrono Trigger did that. All classic games. Pokemon does it all the time. You got to break that fourth wall.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But did you have to like really be up on your Matrix lore to do that, or was it just like I can talk as Morpheus? No one's going to ask me some bit about the history of Zion or anything.
Yeah. If they got too in the weeds, you could kind of divert them by like, oh, that's not important right now. We have to talk about what's happening in the world at this time. It was pretty much like, get what you need to tell the story and push them in the direction of the storytelling that they were doing. But yeah, it was wild having like an audience of people like seriously role playing as they were Matrix characters. Oh, we have an audience with this character.
That's so
Another really
good.
interesting thing was, as a GM, your player model was like an actual agent of the Matrix. And when we had to discipline people, we had, the white room, like the white like
the
space that all the guns come from.
Oh, yeah.
So it was a mix of that and the interrogation desk from the scene with Neo when he first meets the agent.
Right.
And so if someone breaks the rules, we teleport to this room in the skybox that's like a blank white walls with a desk in front of it. And we're telling people, hey, sit in this chair. You're banned for a week for saying naughty words in the game. But I'm an agent. I have this power.
The downside is that's kind of cool. Like you would want to see it in space.
So there was a glitch in the game where if you were riding, we had like subways and trains in the game. If you were sitting down on a subway car and you did the action to roll forward, if you like double tap forward, you'd roll. So the train would keep moving, but you'd stay in the air. So people would roll and roll and roll, and they were able to roll up into the skybox. And someone discovered like, oh, if I roll in this specific position, I can get into this white room with the desk.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. So you'd have players getting their whole clans in that room and taking screenshots. But just by chance, one day I come into the room and I see a group of people in here. And they're like, I can look into their chats. It's like, okay, hurry, we got to do this quick. Everybody get in your positions, blah, blah, blah. And I just start like freezing and muting people, freezing, muting. And then I like reveal myself like, hey, what's going on? What are you doing in this special room?
It's so weird.
They're
Now,
just gonna like,
the coolest thing possible would be like, you know, if someone's just being a real piece of work in the game, if you could bring them into that world and then actually like their character's mouth would like, and actually like seal up and they couldn't talk anymore. Like there's so many opportunities for the Matrix.
If you cannot speak.
Exactly.
At the end of the first open beta, we had a world-ending event where we changed, everything was all ominous and spooky, and we changed the skybox to have like eyeballs in it. But yeah, the thing that closed out that beta was all the player characters getting mashed into little balls and then dropping on the ground and getting logged out. So yeah, we used the Matrix stuff a couple times to pretty fun effect.
Videos like this are possible because MinMax is a completely independent outlet for games supported solely by the community. The only reason we don't have to create condescending clickbait is because folks like you click on the subscribe button or check out the benefits over on patreon.com/MinMax with 2 N's. We think that we're the most efficient gaming outlet out there, so please take a look at what we've done and imagine what more we can do with your support.